Okay, it's recorded in case you don't want to be heard. Okay, so we're doing conversions, and I call it the football laces way, and I call it that because it takes the fractions sort of out, but they're still there. It's mathematically the same, but it doesn't have, like, I don't know, if you have any kind of math phobia and you don't like fractions, then this is the way to go. So, all right, so when you're doing any kind of conversion, the first thing you have to have are conversion factors, and conversion factors are links between units. Okay, so the first conversion factor that you have learned in chemistry class is the molar mass. The molar mass is a conversion factor. It tells you how many grams are in 1 mole of something, and every something has its own molar mass, right? So like copper is something, I don't know that one off the top of my head. Carbon is 12.001 grams per mole, so that 1 mole is however many grams that is, okay? Density is another conversion factor that you might use, because it tells you how many grams are in however much milliliters or centimeters cubed of a substance, and every substance has its own density. Like gold is 19.32 grams per milliliter, or grams per centimeter cubed. So that's a conversion factor that you can use as well. And then there's lots and lots of others, which you probably know. How many seconds are in a minute? How many seconds are in a minute? 60 seconds in 1 minute, and there's like 365 days in a year, and 12 inches in a foot. And then there are some that you might not be familiar with, like 1 centimeter is 2.54 inches. And I have just a whole bunch of like random conversion factors sitting in my head because I've been doing this for a long time. Generally speaking, unless it's like a time one, most people are familiar with time ones, you'll be given the conversion factor that you need, or it will be something that you can look up, like the molar mass, okay? So then what you have to do to be able to do a conversion is you just have to know where you're starting and where you're going to end up. So let's see, Mr. Gastler is, whoops, not Mrs. Mr. Gastler is 2 meters tall, okay? He's exactly 2 meters tall. It's really fun, okay? How many feet is that? Feet and inches. We can do feet and inches if we want to in the end. So let's take this as our first conversion factor. So in order to get from meters to feet and inches, we're going to need to know how those are related. So the first question would be, well, how many meters are in a foot, or how many feet are in a meters? In a meter, and that's another one that I just happen to know off the top of my head. 1 meter is 3 point, oh my gosh, I just forgot it. I bet it's 3.1. Oh my goodness, why can't I remember this number? Has it been too long? Okay, we'll go with 3.1. And if it doesn't work out, we'll know that that's where it was. And then I also know that 1 foot is 12 inches. So if I'm gonna do the feet and inches kind of thing, because that's how we measure people, right? I am 5'9", okay? So how tall is Mr. Gastler, okay? So then for the football laces, what you do is you start by making some football laces. And mathematically, this is taking the place of our fractions, so I don't have to think about multiplying or dividing, and I don't have to like figure out if it's upside down or right side up, or if I'm dividing or multiplying. I'm just going to use my football laces. And so the first thing that I do is I'm going to put my given, the thing that I'm converting, on top in the front, okay? So I'm going to be sticking it right here. I'm going to steal your pencil, okay? So I'm going to put that 2 meters right there, okay? So that was my first step. Then the next thing I'm going to do is, so like with fractions, and when you divide by things, if there's something on top and on the bottom, you can cancel it out. Like 5 times 2 is 10, and if we divide that by 2, the 2's cancel out. That's what we're making use of in the football laces. So my goal is to get the units to cancel out. So, so that's kind of my next step, get units to cancel out, okay? So my goal is to get to feet. So I have meters and I want feet. So that means I gotta put meters down on the bottom and feet up on the top. That'll make my meters cancel out, and then I'll be left over with feet, which is good. That's what I wanted, okay? So, so then I'm gonna put in my numbers from the conversion factor. So 1 meter, so I'm gonna put the 1 by the meter because it was 1 meter, is 3.1 feet. Man, I gotta remember what that one was. I can't believe I can't remember it. You should like Google it while we're sitting here. I want to say 3.108, but I don't think that's it. 16.09, 1.609, 3.108. I don't remember. I don't remember that number. It's fine. It'll all work out, okay? So then once I'm done putting all my numbers in, and sometimes feet isn't the next thing that I want. Sometimes I have something else. We'll do another example where it looks like that. Once I have the unit that I want, I can stop trying to get my units to cancel out, okay? And then all I have to do is the math, okay? And the math that I'm gonna do is gonna look like this. I'm gonna kind of bring it over here, okay? So this will be kind of step 4 maybe. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna multiply across, okay? So all these numbers on top are gonna get multiplied. So 2 times 3.1, okay? And then on the bottom, I'm gonna multiply across as well. Multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom. And I just have a 1 there. I can do that one in my head. And then the next math that I'm going to do is I'm going to divide the top by the bottom. Okay, so I've got my top and my bottom now. Well, hang on, that's in the way. We'll just pretend that's not there. What's 2 times 3.1? It's 6.2, right? 6.2. Yeah, okay, 6.2. And then I got the 1 on the bottom, and 6.2 divided by 1, that's the next step, is pretty easy, right? That's just 6.2. And then my unit is whatever didn't cancel out. So I'm just gonna like cancel all the units that are on the top and the bottom out, and then whatever I have left over is the unit that goes on my answer. So Mr. Gastler is 6.2 feet. It's not 3.1, because he's definitely more than 6.2 feet, but he is 6 point some odd feet. You know, I can figure out what that conversion factor is because I know how tall he is in feet, but it's fine. 3.109, what is that? 3.281, that's what it is, 3.281. So this should be 3.281, and now it's not 6.2. 3.281 times 2. 6.56, yeah, that sounds better. 6.562. So if I wanted to figure out how many inches that was, then I got to take that 0.562 feet, and then I can do the football laces again. 1 foot is 12 inches, and so I'm just going to be multiplying that 0.562 times 12, and I get 6.7 inches. So Mr. Gastler is 6 foot 6.7 inches tall, which is almost 6'7". It's pretty tall. So let's do an example where we're going to have to use more than one conversion factor, and then we can do an extra hard one just for grins and giggles, right? Okay. So so there's, let's see, we'll try and figure out how many seconds are in
5 years.
5 years. This is going to be a big number, okay? How many seconds are in 5 years, okay? So I'm going to start with my football laces, okay? I think I might need some more there. You got it, you're fine there. Okay, so 5 years is my given, so that goes in the front on top, so 5 years goes right there. Okay, so you don't ever need to put anything right there, it's just blank. Okay, it would be a 1 if you had to. There's a situation where you could put a unit there and it would be fine. So I've got 5 years here, so I need to get years to cancel out, so I'm going to put years here, and I know how many days are in a year. Do you know how many days are in a year?
365.
Yeah, so we know that conversion, right? Okay, and then how many, so days isn't what we want, though we want seconds. So getting from days closer to seconds, what's another unit you're familiar with? How about hours? Do you know how many hours are in a day?
24.
Okay, so I'll put hours there. But I don't want hours, I want seconds. Do you know how many minutes are in an hour?
60.
Yeah, so we can put another number there, but now I'm at minutes, and I don't want minutes, I want seconds, so I gotta get my minutes to cancel out too, so they're gonna go on the bottom. See what I'm doing there? I'm just going down. Okay, and then minutes, we can know how many seconds are in a minute too. So now my units are gonna cancel out. I got top and bottom for years, that gets them to cancel out. Top and bottom from days, they'll cancel out. Top and bottom for hours, they'll cancel out. Top and bottoms for minute, they'll cancel out, and then I'll be left with seconds. So then I just got to put in my conversion factor, so I got years and days. So 1 year is how many? 365 days. And then days and hours. So 1 day is 24 hours, and then we got 1 hour is 60 minutes, and 1 minute is 60 seconds. Okay, so that's all my conversion factors there. So now I'm going to multiply across the top and across the bottom. Here, I'll do the bottom, and you do the top, okay? Okay, so I got 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 minus 1. That's why I'm having you do the top.
Oh, okay.
Because you got a calculator. So you're doing 5 times 365 times 24 times 60 times 60, and you got a nice big number, 157680000. Well, that's a lot, okay? I'll do this next step, okay? Because now we got to divide top divided by bottom. So 157680000 is our answer. That's 157 million seconds in 5 years. That's a lot of seconds. So we can keep stringing them along here as much as we want, but sometimes there are more difficult ones. That was kind of an easy one. Let's do a slightly more difficult example.
It's like a word problem.
Miles per. Okay, so that one. Okay, so we got, what's the cost to drive to Los Angeles from San Francisco, a distance of 405 miles. Okay, so we got 405 miles. The cost of gasoline is $2.90 per gallon, and the car gets 25 miles per gallon of gas. Okay, this is a good one, okay? So we want to know what the cost is, so we got to go from miles to dollars. Actually, I don't think I need all of those. I don't think I need this one, because I've only got 2 conversion factors. Okay, so this is my given right here. This is 405 miles, so it's going to go in the top spot on the on the top and the front. There we go. Okay, so I got 405 miles. Just making sure we're still recording here. Sometimes it poops out on me. Okay, so I got to get rid of the miles, and the only conversion factor I have up here that has miles in is this one. So it goes from miles to gallons, so gallons is going to end up being on the top. And then this one has gallons. Gallons is what I got to get rid of, so I'm going to put that on the bottom. And then dollars are going to be on the top. And the dollar sign usually comes in front of the number, but you know, based on the way I put stuff in, I ended up putting it behind, and it's fine. I could write it over here too. That would work out as well. So then I'm going to put the numbers in. So this is 25 miles per gallon, and the 25 goes with the miles, so I'm putting the 25 on the bottom. On all these I've been putting the number on the top, but it doesn't matter where the number goes, just that it's next to the right unit. So it's 25 miles per gallon, so I'm going to put a 1 there. And then this one is $2.90 per gallon, so I'm going to put the $2.90 because that's the dollar stuff on the top, and then 1 gallon on the bottom. So my miles are going to cancel out, my gallons are going to cancel out, and I'm going to end up left with dollars, which is what I'm trying to find out. How much does it cost to drive there? Okay, so I'm going to multiply across the top, which will be the 405 times the 290, 405 times 2.90, and on the bottom it'll be 25 times 1. I got the bottom, it's 25. 1,174.5. Okay, so up here I ended up with a number divided by 1, but now I got different numbers, so I got to plug that into my calculator, unless you happen to know how many 25s that is. Ooh, it's almost a whole number, but it's not, because that's 0.5. Yeah, go ahead and divide by 25. There we go, 46.98. Whoops, 98. And so then my dollar sign is my unit that I have left over. So they can get kind of complicated, and it doesn't matter where the numbers are. Fun ones are converting speed units. So if you have like miles per hour and you want to know how many centimeters per year that is, you can do that, but they're much more complicated. But if we wanted to use a density one or a molar mass one, okay, so like if we have, the other day in class we did one where we had 727 milliliters of a gold brick, and the density of the gold brick was 19.32 grams per milliliter. How heavy is it? We could totally do this with that one too. 727 milliliters. We got to get the milliliters to cancel out, so we put them on the bottom, and then grams goes on top. So it's 19.32 grams per milliliter, and so we end up multiplying those just like we did in class. It's the same idea. So you can switch that if you need to. Maybe this is grams and you want to know how many milliliters it is. You would use the density upside down there with the number on top, or the number on the bottom and the 1. But it always works out every time. And this is how I learned how to do conversions when I was in chemistry class in high school. And this really helped me because I was terrified of fractions. But I could multiply across and then divide. I could do that no problem. But I didn't know how to do those other things in my calculator. So this is what I did. So if it works for you, then use it, and if it doesn't work for you, then don't. Otherwise, it's mathematically, they're all the same. All the different ways that you can do conversions, they're the same. And we'll stop the video there. Thanks for watching.